You've seen the one. This is the one in Bel Air, the $295 million property, the highest price sold in Los Angeles. And at one point, the most expensive house in the world. Now, this was built, it started about 10 years ago. It was completed about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it's had a lot of challenges along the way. Let's see if the design choices that were appropriate or cutting edge, top of the line, 10 years ago when it was being planned, and even, onto what the end result being, what the end result was rather, at its time of completion a few years ago. Let's see if it's held up. Most importantly, popular opinion in general is that expensive real estate is the embodiment of luxury and exquisite taste, and we're going to see if that taste is held up. But expensive real estate and exquisite taste does not necessarily equal each other, or they don't always align. Rather, let's say that. Now, if you're an architect or have a design background, this video is going to be for you. If you have a great eye for details, this is definitely for you. Let's take a closer look, and I'll show you what most people don't see. I'll uncover what they got right with this house, and I'll show you what was executed poorly. And yes, it is very possible for $295 million properties to be executed very poorly. Now, this video will be a comprehensive look into the decisions made to create this house, going back to 2014. I'll break down what they got right, from its jaw-dropping and the sophisticated design to its over-the-top details, and I'll call out with Mr. Mark. At the end, we'll determine if this is money wasted, 10 years later or 5 years later since it's been sold, or if it was money well spent. We're going to take a look at the architecture. We're going to take a look at the materials. We're going to take a look at the build quality. We are not going to focus on the furnishings and the accessories and things like that. This is just going to be strictly for the house and how it's aged. Let's go.
This is the biggest and the most expensive home currently on the market in the United States, with an asking price of $295 million. It is also the most requested episode on our channel, so we're really excited for this tour. Now, this home features 105,000 square feet of interior space, 21 bedrooms, 49 bathrooms, private nightclub, breathtaking views, situated on this incredible promontory. And let's get started.
Right away, I'm not sure which way this is the entrance is oriented, but I can tell you that unless this is very late in the afternoon, this is not. I don't know if I would want such a dark entry on the approach to this house. This house should be very well lit. It also should have some sort of life injected into it. And what I mean by that is like some sort of vegetation, something to kind of make it feel like a house. Right now, it looks like it's walking up to a commercial structure, like a mall or a corporate headquarters or something like that. Doesn't look exactly like a house. Now, we do have the water feature that's at the front, but it's not active. That's another thing I think would probably lend to having a more welcoming feel. It's not inviting. It doesn't pull you in. The lack of sun on this particular side, the lack of vegetation or landscaping, and the inactivity of the water feature is killing it right away. Right away, I can tell you that this is a humongous waste of space. It looks like, I don't know if these are plaster walls or if this is drywall, but there seems to be a very stark and an enormous amount of inactive space. When you walk in, I mean, I think the view is supposed to orient you or direct you straight through to the view on the other side of the statue here. But on the other side, it's so cold. It looks like it doesn't even look like the furniture even belongs. It looks like it's so wide, it's so expansive. It looks like it was made as an event space because of the enormous amount of space in between those walls, and it's really hard to get the scale. But I mean, most sofas like these this is probably maybe like a eight, maybe like I don't know, probably like a 7 or 8 foot sofa. And so you can see I mean, these things would in other places be, especially if you have two in the same plane, this would make most places look very, very cluttered. But these are very lost in this space. So I would imagine this is probably, this is probably maybe 30 feet across, maybe 20 or 30 feet across of nothing.
The One is a property that has been legendary to all Angelinos for the last 12 years, and worldwide in the last decade it has become this iconic sort of figure. It's kind of bigger than life, it's more than a home, it's an entity. And the reason why Angelinos have followed this property is because there are so many changes that have taken place now in Los Angeles which don't allow you to ever recreate this.
We've heard that often before with a lot of property that are on the West Coast, largely because there's an enormous amount of like bureaucracy and red tape and things like that that you have to go through in order to see it through. And a lot of times, unless you have a lot, I mean, you have to have an enormous amount of patience. You have to have a lot of money to see these things through. A lot of ideas have gone, have gone down the drain, not even seen the light of day because of the processes. And so that's one thing. The other thing is not just like the permitting and things like that, but just what it takes before you even start to see structure rise from out of the ground. You have, especially like when in earthquake prone areas, you have to have a great deal of infrastructure first. I'm talking certain types of foundations, certain types of materials that you have to use, all sorts of things. Materials, plumbing, steel, all sorts of things have to be a specific way to meet the requirements of a build like this. And again, the bottom parts, the infrastructure that you don't see probably costs as much as the most expensive houses that you've ever seen in the world. And I'm talking about just the parts that you don't see. And so that's when you have conversations, or you have the superlatives, I guess, when people say things like this house will never be built again, because it just becomes one of these things where it's not worth it. A lot of the developers look at it from does this make sense? What kind of return am I going to get? And oftentimes it doesn't make sense. So the fact that this went the way that it went all the way to the finish line, still with challenges, makes, it contributes to the mystique and the price tag as well, because as she said, it's not the easiest thing to take something like this to the finish line.
For one thing, there are nearly 30,000 cubic yards of dirt. 30,000 cubic yards of dirt that were removed excavated to create this, okay? And you were on 4 acres, almost 4 acres, up the longest driveway you've ever seen and landing on top of the hill, one of the highest elevations in all of Bel Air. So for all of those reasons, and then add the icing on the cake, which is a 360-degree view, you are in one of the most sought after and iconic properties in all of Los Angeles.
We're gonna start our tour on the motor court. Long driveway brings you up here, and halfway through the driveway, you actually have an entrance point to your subterranean garage. And behind the property, we also have an amazing detached guest home that we're gonna tour later in the video. Now coming here, we have this paved floors, palm trees, amazing scale. And coming to this section, we have the marble walkway taking you to the front door. I love the moat that they have off of the entry. You have an art installation on your right, 2 massive skylights embedded into the pool, allowing natural light to the lower section. And before we get in here, I also want to thank the listing agents, Rainey Williams, Brandon Williams, and Aaron Kerman for allowing us to tour this amazing listing. And we will be actually talking to Rainey and Brandon later in the tour. Now, coming back here.
Now, right here, I would loved to have seen something, maybe like a light fixture or something along in this area, just to accentuate the column form, and even maybe something, and maybe we'll see something at night too, where there may be some cove lighting or something in here to kind of accentuate this kind of hidden area. But there's a lot. You can't really appreciate the marble because it just looks, there's no there's the lack of, there's nothing to pull out like the colors, like the veining. I would have, if he's gonna do this, I would have preferred it to be something that where you can kind of see where there's some visual interest there. This looks like this may as well have been Corian or something, something that really doesn't have a lot of dimension or soul or life to it. This could have been, I imagine if you see this in person, it probably looks a lot more awe-inspiring. But right now, just in pictures and just the initial impression, even if I were, if this house were to hit the market again, and you're going on promotional images, this looks like a very, very uninspiring, nothing special about here. There's something else that I noticed too, and I think you just can't help it. If you look right here, there's a break in the marble here, and I think it's just where it's a condition or a product of carrying on. This part was planned out. What he should have did right here, instead of having this interrupted. So what I mean by that is that this marble here and this, they're all the same shape, right? The same dimensions rather. It carries across all the way across here, but right here you have this small little rectangular sliver where basically they're just filling a gap between the dimensions, the size to fill in the gap between the other size of the other dimensions of the marble and where the door opening is. And so I imagine the reason why this is the case is probably the ceiling is lower than this point right here. And so that created this kind of negative space that they had to fill with an offcut of the marble. What I would have done is pull this door up, get a higher door, or maybe something that, maybe a piece of glass that mimics the door instead of the piece of marble, so that it actually has better continuity. This looks like an afterthought.
The front facade is also clad with marble. I love the grit details on the right hand side. This overhead section has built-in LED.
There you go. This is a better view of it. It's kind of tough without being right there in person. What influenced this piece right here, but you can see better here what I'm talking about. All the different shapes, all the different marble panels are the same size, except for this right here. For a house in this price range, this is unacceptable. This should never have been the case. They should have done something different instead of. I would have put glass in the same color as the door. If they could not, if there was absolutely no way to move the door up to order, to design or spec a different door, to put glass here instead.
LED lighting to light up the entry, and come in here, we have a fingerprint scanner, and your marble door actually recesses into the wall. Now coming here, this is where we have the spacious foyer. Oversized marble on the floors. We have this art installation right in the center that rotates. Beautiful chandelier above. And throughout the property, I'm going to talk about the scale because everything in this house is so oversized, so grand. And this is just your entry here. You have seating on each side, suede walls, and sliding glass doors seamlessly takes you to the outdoors. Now coming back here to the...
Now again, this is an exercise in looking at the architectural details, not the furnishings, not the accessories like this statue. I don't care about any of those things because you can remove those things. We're talking about how did the architectural designers plan this house? How did they want it to look? And so far, it seems that it appears, and when you plan for just a humongous space, there are going to be, because there's so many details and the space is so voluminous that it's very easy to just kind of miss things, to kind of miscalculate the scale and things like that, because you can draw it and design it, but when you experience it in real life, it often becomes very very different than what you intended. A great example of this is if you've ever been to the like St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Those ceilings are so tall, but they're so grand. Even though they make you feel so small inside, there's so much architectural detail and history, and there's so much there that it brings you up to the ceilings and to the columns and the arches and things like that, because there's so much detail for you to study. Here it's just a box.
Entry, we have this long hallway taking us to two special rooms. First, we're going to check out the office. Now, before we get there, on our right hand side, we have one of the staircases going up to the second floor, and coming here, we have the office. 25-foot high ceilings, skylight right in the center, walls of glass facing the views.
I can tell you right here, I don't mind this office. This office is actually pretty cool. My only criticism is that it is a lot of lacquer and a lot of LED lighting, a lot of shelves. It's too much. To be fair, this house is supposed to be too much. But when you think about filling the shelves, this is how I think about it. I think of all those shelves as just another thing that you'd have to dust. You have to, if they were closed or something like that, or if they had different uses besides just being shelves, that would be a different thing. But this is I think it's just too much. I would prefer this to have been maybe if they had maybe used some of the, maybe some marble or travertine or whatever we're going to find out that they use throughout the house as continuity. If they would have had something like that instead, maybe like I don't see, and I hadn't seen this before yet. I know I'm familiar with the house for sure, but I haven't seen like a detailed tour. I don't sense there's going to be a lot of warmth in it. I don't see any wood, no any wood influences or hints of wood so far. But if I were to have done this, it would have been some natural material, maybe along this top part going up to the ceiling, to kind of demonstrate a little warmth instead. Even if they wanted the theme to be kind of white, having like a light stained, whitewashed natural material, I think would have been a lot better than whatever this material is.
Have water surrounding the entire room, and this corner glass looks towards your motor court. Scale is amazing. We have the desk set up right in the center, and the entire room is complemented with Italian lacquer finished cabinetry with LED lighting that looks really sleek. And on top of that, right above us, we actually have the balcony looking down on this room, and we're going to check that space out later in the tour. Now, bringing everybody back to the entry, again, we have the staircase on our left going up to the second floor. This opening takes us to a beautiful powder room with a marble pedestal sink and marble finished wall.
All right, let's stop here just really quick. I don't mind the toilet. It's okay. It appears to just just been another over the top detail that it didn't necessarily need. What I would have preferred if there was some sort of something that would match, kind of like the influence in the shape of the pedestal sink, and they make things like that that kind of have similar design detail or kind of a design language. This just seems to match. This seems to be more geared toward whatever they wanted to try to produce here, whatever they were going forward here. It looks like this was kind of trying to follow that theme, but it failed. Now this part, the toilet, I don't know which came first, the back, the wall with the angled mirror or the toilet. If they were going to do this, what I would have done was to take the same angle. This looks like about I don't know, um, gosh, I don't know, maybe like an 80-degree angle or something like that. I would have continued this same angle with the glass here. That way they don't look like they don't belong together. Right now, this looks, it just doesn't align with the other elements that are in the room. Again, this looks, I don't know, I just can't really describe how it's off. There's some imbalance there, largely because this is what you see when you go in. You go in and you see this. This is more softer, so this kind of blends away. This kind of fades away. But the angle here and the other angle here, they don't talk to each other very well. They're not talking nicely to each other.
With a mirror accent, and coming here, we have the main lounge.
This is the King's Lounge, where he entertains. Walls of glass, explosive views, two king palms. You have this beautiful art wall with this 20-foot fireplace. You have this beautiful lounge.
I mean, this is amazing. And Brendan, furniture looks small here. Room is so big, it's insane. How many square feet you said this room was?
I think this is about 3,000 square feet.
That's incredible. I mean, these are good sized couches and sofa setup, and it's insane. And you have another one over there.
This is the secondary lounge. This is my favorite lounge because this is where you have the most explosive views in Los Angeles. You have the grand piano, oversized, and then you have the biggest views in all of Los Angeles. This is the King of the Air, and it has one of my favorite art pieces, which is the Murano glass. It's the angel wings. And you know what that's for? Because this view is why they call it the City of Angels.
Now, I'm going to take an interesting route. I'm going to bring everybody here. We have the elevator access back to the foyer. Of course, it opens up.
Here's another view of the entry of the foyer. It looks, from this vantage point, it's kind of tough. It looks a lot more narrow from this orientation than it did when you walk in. It's just the camera kind of adding the the variance in length. So it doesn't look that bad from here. I think the other room with the two living rooms probably is a little bit more egregious in terms of kind of spaces that don't make sense. This still could have been, this still is a humongous foyer area, no doubt, but it's not as long. Just wanted to point that out.
To the outdoors, we're going to check out the backyard in a bit. And coming here, we have the formal dining room area. Gorgeous.
All right. So right away, I don't know what these are called. Don't know how much they cost. Doesn't matter. They are not attractive. This looks like something anybody could add to their house, unless this is made out of onyx and gold and real diamonds. If it's not those, this solar system should have been somewhere else. I mean, that's what it looks like. When I see this, I see a solar system or the black hole from what's the movie with Interstellar. This is what I see. A lot of these things that you're gonna see here, you're gonna find that most of the things here have not aged well, and someone who's gonna buy this and in, I don't know, 10 years or so, they're probably going to rip all this stuff out because there are no classic materials in it. I think that's going to be the theme of this video. A lack of, even you can be modern and you can be classic. You can have some classic details that do stand the test of time. I don't see many things that will stand the test of time so far. Other thing I want to point out, I guess I'm kind of breaking my promise about talking about accessories, but don't know what's going on here. I don't know if this is what these panels are made of. But in a house like this, I would expect them to use the kind of materials that don't show variation this way. So you look right here, and there's the panels are a little tighter. Right here, they kind of bow out a little bit, likely because of humidity or whatever, but it just doesn't show well. And then the other thing too, I imagine these walls are plaster, and it's probably meant to be textured. But I want to get a closer look at that just to make sure that's what that is. This doesn't signal anything wrong. This is just, a lot of plaster have textures in the surfaces. So as long as that's what that is, that's okay.
Table right in the center that currently sits 16 people, but I'm sure you can add a few more chairs on each side, chandeliers above, and again, just the scale, 25-foot high ceilings. Everything about this house is so grand. Now, I want to take everybody this way. This entire glass panel actually goes into your walk-in wine cellar that is temperature controlled. And these are for your big bottles. And you have seating areas within your wine cellar. This is mind-boggling. We have never seen anything quite like this.
I'm going to give kudos for this. I think this looks fantastic. I would have loved for them to, especially at this price point, you're touring this house. I want to see what my wine is going to look like in here. Right now, I have to use a lot of my imagination. And when I'm making enough money to buy a $295 million house, I don't want to use my imagination. I want them to get right to it and show me what I'm getting. This kind of missed the mark on that.
Now, I want to bring everybody back to the formal dining room area. This is the main hallway that takes you from the front door. And coming here, we have an amazing opening with this art installation that starts from the second floor ceiling, goes down all the way to the lower level, complemented with a water feature. This is a polished chrome piece, and I'm sure just the installation of this sculpture took over a year. Now, come in here, we have another staircase going up to the second floor.
Another thing that I'm saying, and you'll see this too, there's a lot of variation in the type of lights that they're using. I know what these are. These are the type of recessed lighting that you can have kind of molded into the ceiling, into the whatever the material is, whether it's plaster or drywall or whatever. These are supposed to disappear where you don't see the seams and things like that. In the living area, you had a lot of the kind of like vertical or kind of linear lighting in those different spaces that had like the individual, like the groupings of the fixtures inside of those linear spaces. And then this kind of looks like this was like it wasn't built brand new. This looks like this was like, if there was a renovation, this would have been like the old house. This looks like something that was already there. Whether or not it's the case, it may not be. It just looks like they didn't want to, add the same linear effect as they would. I think I would have preferred to see that instead of these. These, even if they never had the other element in there, I think these would have been okay. But seeing those and now seeing these in contrast, it just seems like they don't seem to be as it doesn't make me feel inspired, or it just doesn't look as substantial as the other ones.
And this is where we have the art gallery. Just an open space. On our right hand side, we have the moat off of the entry. You have your lighting perfectly positioned, and at the end of this hallway we have a guest bedroom. So let's go quickly check that out. Seating area off of the entry, king size bed with a padded back wall, super spacious room. Has a door that opens up to the motor court for easy.
See, we're continuing to see more of this lighting, and I don't have a problem with it. And here it doesn't look so bad. It looks a little fresher here, and in the art gallery space, it looks a little fresher. I think they need to pick, what kind of recessed lighting they want to go for continuity. Right now, it's just not. It just seems like they had different designers in different rooms.
The access and coming here, I'm trying to figure out which details I want to point because there are so many. Let's quickly check out the bathroom. It starts here, marble floors, marble walk-in shower with this mosaic detail, chrome finishes, total toilet that opens up as you walk into the bathroom, floating vanity, walk-in closet, everything you need. Now, let's go back to the hallway. And at the end of this hallway,
Wait, what was that?
everything you need. Now, let's go.
What is this? Is this art, or is this like a layout of the house? Or I don't think it's a layout of the house. It looks like it's art. Okay, I thought it was something else. If it was like I don't know, like a scale model of the layout of that particular area, I think that would have been cool. If I'm not really sure what that is.
Go back to the hallway, and at the end of this hallway, we have few powder rooms to serve the first floor.
I will say this. Let me go back just a bit. I will say this. If you look here, what I've noticed is that the power receptacles, I've noticed it in another space too, also right here. They did a good job of making this look artistic, making it look like a nice well thought out detail. Most places would have just had it oriented vertically, somewhere, depending on where the studs were for this space. They would have just been at the mercy of, finding negative space to put the outlet in. But right here, this was planned. You can tell this is absolutely planned to make sure that they fit within the center line of the wall spaces that they were on. Let's pay attention to that to see if there's some continuity there. So that's a great detail. Again, I can see it here, and I can see it here. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, these are the type of details that you want in a house at this price point. You don't want them haphazardly placed.
And at the end of this hallway, we have few powder rooms to serve the first floor of this home. It starts right here. We have a gorgeous marble pedestal sink.
I'm really enjoying like their use of marble for the pedestal sinks. I do not enjoy it. This is not an attractive toilet. This looks like something that's probably I bet you I would bet that this is I don't know. I don't know. I think this is not aging well right now. I think these would have to go. I mean, they would drive me crazy. They're just not attractive. I would rather have something that looks good, even if it didn't have the same function. Like, I don't need a motorized toilet lid. I don't need that. I just need something that looks gorgeous and that it blends in and matches the style that I'm trying to build, or the design of the prevailing design of the house.
Chrome fixtures, another total toilet, everything you need. Now, coming back to the hallway, we're gonna go this way. We'll be walking a lot in this home. I mean, Mikey, look at the scale here. I just keep walking.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to talk much yet because I'm a little bit overwhelmed. We've done a lot of walking already, but we've really just started. So let's keep going.
Absolutely. Double doors open up to your library. Now, I say library, but this room actually has built-in ventilation for a cigar lounge. That way you can actually smoke here and you won't even smell. In fact, Mikey, let's get a close up here. You can see all these built-ins with chrome details. I love the veneer of the wood cabinetry and the gloss finish. You have the seating area right in the center.
Now, I don't mind this room. This is definitely the man's room, but it's done well. It is not. It doesn't feel like it's wasted space. It feels very cozy, very warm. Somewhere where you can actually kind of step away from all the coldness, the sterileness of the other spaces. We get it right here. And I mentioned earlier wasn't really sure if there was going to be any wood details, and this is okay. I don't prefer like the lacquer look, and it's right away, especially in over 100,000 square feet of house. So far, I'm seeing that lacquer is being overused. I'd like to see something with, something that would be timeless, like a satin feel or a matte feel or something like that. Maybe like an eggshell type of feel. And I'm just talking about just the finishes of the wood. You can finish wood lacquer, you can finish it matte, you can finish it satiny. I would like to see something that looks a little bit more natural, because where they are in LA, you don't have a lot of. I mean, you got the palm trees and things like that. You don't have a lot of like wood. I mean, what I mean by that is that you don't have a lot of like real grass. Oftentimes they have like turf, and so I would like that offset by having like real natural materials. I mean, we see a lot of stone and things like that in in every all the rooms and things like that. But I'd like something that actually looks like there is some connection to the outdoors, and I don't see a lot of it here. Just in general in the house. I mean, this room is okay.
Vintage Playboy covers on this side, which is a unique detail, and I personally love those wall sconces that are brass finished and oversized.
And if there's a bunch of vintage Playboy covers on the wall and you're talking about brass wall fixtures.
I'm just trying to keep a straight line here. We got a lot to cover on this house, so I'm just trying to keep it quick. It's a cool touch, open shelving, TV, more storage and humidors and everything you need. All right, let's go back to the hallway and continue our tour. By the way, Mikey, can you expose to the outside? Look at the views here. We have downtown Los Angeles from every angle of this home. This is just amazing. Of course, you have sliding glass doors here opening up to the outdoors. And coming here, this is where we have the family room and the kitchen. I'm gonna start our tour on the kitchen. It is super sleek. I love this polished cabinetry, waterfall edge on the island. This is for sure one of the biggest islands we have ever seen on this channel. Nicely decorated, glass panels. I mean, look how sleek these details are. I'm pretty sure this is a rose gold finish, which is something we don't see quite often. And of course, you have your Miele built-ins, 2 induction cooktops with a pop-up vent, built-in espresso maker. Sorry, Mike, I'm pushing you.
I'm okay with this kitchen too. I know we talked about the lacquer and things like that, but this looks more like I can't remember if he mentioned it already, but this looks to be kind of like I'm sure it's not, but it has the look of like glass fronts, and I think it's maybe like the color that kind of lends itself to look that way. I would have preferred them to use maybe not the black Miele appliance, not the black fronts. I don't know I can't remember what other variations they have, but or maybe like if they were going to do this, maybe not use Miele, maybe use Gaggenau or something like that. That has less of a stark contrast between the green and the black. The Gaggenau's they have like a greenish grayish type of front that would have a more seamless, visually less distracting view. Or kind of your viewpoint, your experience would be a little less stark.
Your left and right, but these are cool. I want to have one of these.
We've seen one of those before.
We have tried one of these before.
Yeah, actually had another one of Rainey and Brandon's listings.
That is correct. That is correct. All right, we have 2 Miele induction cooktops here with pop-up vents. Right next to that, we have the first pep sink, second one on this side, pop-up plugs. Very modern, very sleek kitchen. Now, let's go back into the family room so we can check out the seating section over there. 2 L-shaped couches, gorgeous coffee table right in the center. I love the chandelier ceiling lighting over here that really ties the space. Of course, you have your recessed in TV to the wall, linear gas fireplace, suede walls, cozy room, marble clad wall on that side, and sliding glass doors opening up.
Let me go back just a bit here. Most people wouldn't have paid attention. I've seen this all the way through, where they have the kind of like a break here in there's no baseboard, so to say, but there's a break between the wall and the floor, and then you have like this small reveal that goes around. This is a very classy touch, and it's very, very difficult to to create in this way, where it looks, where you have that horizontal line that just flows, exactly all the way around the house. It's almost like when you have your lawn mowed and you get the edge all around your sidewalk and your driveway. It's just a satisfying detail right here.
Your recessed in TV to the wall, linear gas fireplace, suede walls, cozy room, marble clad wall on that side, and sliding glass doors opening up to the outdoors. Mikey, let's go check it out. And I also want to mention, they're still putting some of the finishing touches in this estate. They're still working certain areas. We cannot tour it all, but we're going to try to do our best to show you guys everything, right? We have another hallway here, powder room for this part of the home. You come in here, of course, these massive sliding glass doors open up to the outdoors. As soon as you walk,
just a really quick call out again. You see all the recessed lighting. There's some continuity here, and it doesn't look bad, but I think they should have decided, which way to go. Looks like they hunkered down, or doubled down rather, on these types, and maybe like just specific rooms have the more linear inset lights. Not really sure, which one I like better, but I think I would prefer them to stay in terms of the recessed lighting itself, to kind of stay on the same page in all the rooms, so that the lights themselves, they don't become the focal point. They should be the ambiance. You should notice everything else. The lighting should just be there as a supporting cast, not like, your eye immediately goes toward. And I think that's where it's kind of messing with me a little bit, because in the other living room, they were such a focal point. When you look, it kind of drew your eye up to the ceiling in a way that I don't want it to look.
Ken, downtown Los Angeles is right in front of you. This is just incredible. The views here, the scale of this property, the scale of this backyard. In fact, Mikey, let's take everybody to the grass section. I love these palm trees that are...
Wait, what was that?
Let's take everybody...
What's this here? Are they... Oh, gosh. So it looks like they are... I don't know this to be the case. It just looks like they are... He came in the middle... Well, he did say that. So to be fair, they were in the middle of finishing these things up. So it looks like this panel here wasn't yet secured to the landscaping piece. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That's what it is. It just looks like they just didn't have time to finish all the details.
To the grass section. I love these palm trees that are right in the center of the backyard. To give everybody a quick scale, that's the foyer, that's the main lounge that we toured earlier. We have the bedrooms on the second floor and the lower level that we're gonna see in a bit. But more importantly, look at these views. And they did a really clever touch here. They have a 400-foot jogging trail that's right below this moat. That way they have the glass railing there, since this property is on a hillside, which allows this moat to have no glass railing. And from any part of the first floor or the second floor, you look at your views undisrupted. This is simply amazing. I mean, you can literally see the mountains all the way back, Hollywood Hills, downtown, Century City is down below you, Pacific Ocean. These are, without a doubt, one of the best views we have ever seen on this channel.
Yeah,
Mikey, you look a little speechless.
We're just so high up here too, but I was actually looking behind me at the ocean views over here, which we'll see in a second.
Absolutely. Now we're coming to the side backyard, let's just call it that. We have the jacuzzi here, which is oversized. Marble floors, even on the outdoors. That's your covered patio space right there with a massive built-in TV. And this is your main pool that has 3 infinity edges, marble clad, mosaic on the bottom, and you get so much outdoor space. I mean, property is pretty big, let's just face it.
Yeah.
And not only you get amazing interior square footage, you get a lot of outdoor square footage.
I can tell you, kudos to the supplier for all the marble for this place. This looks like he got a small mountain from Italy to get all the stone that's in this place, especially the exterior stone. It's not the easiest thing to do, to source all these different all the material that's needed for a house like this. So you know, that I can tell you that has to be appreciated for someone to be able to obtain all the materials for this house. Just again, just the amount of marble and the type. It looks like they didn't have to, you know, compromise much, if any at all, on the marble for this house. It looks great.
And I want to particularly cover this section because you have so many more amenities on this wing. You have an outdoor dining area, another covered seating with TV, small wet bar, and right behind this section, we have the outdoor kitchen. This is without a doubt one of the best outdoor kitchen slash barbecue areas we have ever seen in any residential home. You have so much cabinetry, multiple fridges, ice maker, teppanyaki, sink, and focusing to the
I see something that's bothering me a little bit, and I know this is probably just because it's outside. These cabinet fronts, these are likely some sort of composite material, and you know, probably not the highest quality. You can see here that there's some, you know, there's some issues here that's causing it to not be flush or flat. It's probably warped or something like that. But, you know, again, probably because it's outside, or maybe this is a pull out and it's just not pushed all the way in. I'd like to think that this is probably just a product of just being outdoors and how it changes materials. That's what I think. And then the other thing too is that I would have preferred the ice maker here to be. I think this is I think this is maybe like a beer fridge or something like that. I'm not really sure. But I would have preferred this to be flush. Everything else is flush in here. But right here, this area right here they should have gone back to the drawing board. Someone has to address this right here.
other side. Of course, you have your outdoor grill, warming drawers, vent above, and you have more grills here. Literally everything you need.
I mean, same thing here. I mean, this is a humongous gap right here compared to some of the other spaces. See, if you look right here, there's no gap right here. Small gap. That's okay. But right here, too big. Gap is way too big for $295 million.
Need. And that wraps our tour on the exterior and the backyard. Now I want to take everybody back inside so we can check out the lower level.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. I know this is an accessory. What are these? Are these... This looks like... So, I know that in order for them to put these butterflies on the wall, that they have to have some, you know, a special kind of fixture or screw or something like that. But when you see this, this looks like kind of like fake flowers. I don't want my house $295 million to look like I have fake flowers in it. Maybe they should have painted these white so that they don't stand out. They should have been white.
This is the biggest home in the world at 105,000 square feet of living space. It is divided up by a structure of 30,000 square feet that is actually the home. And then underbelly of the home, which includes a nightclub, a 4-lane bowling alley, a spa, a gym. And when I say gym and when I say spa, I mean it's really anything and everything you could ever imagine in a home. We decided to do something really exciting and never been done before on a property of this caliber. So myself, Brandon Williams, and Eric Herman are going to take this, along with Concierge Auction, out to the world, and we're going to allow the bidding process to be won over by the person that really wants to make this their home, their everything, because this is so much more than a home.
Alright everyone, here we are on the lower floor landing. Before we continue our floating, because it's actually not attached to the wall here, and it's all clad with marble, has the recessed wall lighting, glass railing, and you come to the landing of the lower level. First, we have this art gallery space here, and I want to take everybody this side. Like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna walk a lot in this house. This door actually opens up to the subterranean 50-car garage. They're still working on the house and finishing some of the areas, but I wanted to.
Now this is a nice touch. I wish they would have shown it the other way around. The one, Bel Air. That's a pretty cool touch. You can't really appreciate it from this vantage point, but definitely something to be. It's a detail. I mean, people don't have their address or their name of their house inscribed in their driveway, so this is a cool touch.
Bring everybody here because this is a great space. Massive door opens up from the driveway and brings you here. We have all this lighting on the ceiling, and they went with darker tones for this space. Now, coming back here, marble floors throughout. I want to talk about the feature wall that's in front of us with the butterfly details and the portraits, multiple seating areas, and the space continues. I mean, look at this hallway here. This is
I think his exasperation kind of sums up, what this house is. I mean, there's not a lot here to kind of talk about because it's just walls. I mean, I think she described it as like the main house is like, I guess 6,000 square feet. I think if that's what she said, and the rest is just kind of like they're just kind of figuring it out and winging it. But there's just not a lot here. I mean, it's not a lot of personality, and he's struggling to kind of talk about, to kind of pull things out that just isn't there. It's a lot of gray, a lot of, you see gray. That's what you see. The floors are kind of like a off-whitish. You got gray here, gray there, gray everywhere. And I think, when you talk about, what $295 million should get you, I think I'm struggling to even justify even, even $5 million outside of, let's take that back. All the effort in the property and the land certainly justifies that big price tag. But when you talk about just what this house has, what they, outside of the grandness and the enormity of the house, outside of it, just doesn't have a lot of personality. And he's struggling to kind of trying to pull out that personality. And the reason why is just because it's just not there. I think I'm going to just wrap this up here because I don't want to, belabor you guys and have you sit through, a lot more of, what isn't there. Maybe I'll do a part 2, to kind of maybe go through some other details if I find anything worthwhile. But I think what you're going to find is that it's just going to be a whole lot of the same. And I think that, if you talk about just being honest, I think this is what made this house struggle to sell at the price point that it is now. Certainly, it is magnificent. It is an exercise in what you can do if you stay the course, if you just throw a lot of money at something. But at the same time, I think this is the house is just too enormous to have a connection with. It looks more like at 100 something thousand square feet, it's probably is more of a corporate retreat type of thing for like a humongous company. I know I've said humongous a bunch of times, but that's kind of like what this house is, just humongous. It just, there's nothing else there. Let me know in the comments what you liked most about what you've seen and what you disliked about what you've seen in terms of, the details, the layout, the inside and outside of this house. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you. We'll see you next time.